Question is, shall the bill pass? The chair recognizes Representative Gavarone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the Ohio House. I am proud to stand before you today to request your support for Senate Bill 231, otherwise known as Sierra's Law, sponsored by Senator Randy Gardner. In July of 2016, a beautiful young lady, just 20 years old, named Sierra, was riding her bike on a rural Fulton County road when she was attacked, kidnapped, and brutally murdered. A Fulton County jury earlier this year convicted and sentenced the man who carried out this awful crime to death. During the trial, it was brought to the jury's attention that this man spent time in prison many years before for an abduction in the same area of the county. Sierra Joggins' death gripped Northwest Ohio as much as anything I've ever seen in the 30 years I've been there. Out of this tragedy, Senator Gardner learned that Ohio law could be changed to provide better information for law enforcement and the opportunity for citizens to better protect themselves by knowing where convicted violent felons reside. As a mother of 2 daughters this age, I want to do everything I can to make sure they are safe. Senator Gardner met with Sierra's family and sat down with 14 county sheriffs throughout Northwest Ohio and asked Attorney General Mike DeWine and his staff for their advice. Legislation was introduced and even more meetings were held to find the right balance to provide law enforcement with the information it wants to promptly respond to crimes or suspected crimes. By visiting the county sheriff's office, citizens too can obtain information on a county-by-county basis if they decide that information is important to them and their family's safety. The bill before us establishes a law enforcement violent offender database where information on those convicted of aggravated murder, voluntary manslaughter, kidnapping, and abduction would be available to law enforcement throughout Ohio. Currently, this information is not available on a geographic basis. The Senate Judiciary and House Criminal Justice Committees accepted numerous amendments, including one that strives to provide a level of judicial discretion so that focus would be on those truly violent felony principal actors. Our goal is not to burden or punish. Our goal is to provide new information that can serve to make our communities safer. As Wood County Sheriff Mark Vasilishin said in his testimony to the committees, knowledge is power. We need to provide Ohioans with more knowledge. While Sierra's Law is good policy, it's not the final word on helping make Ohio safer. When things work the way they should, helping felons on the path to honest, law-abiding lives is the best thing we can do to make Ohio safer. In agriculture, we know the 4 R's are best management practices. We also have 4 R's when it comes to prison reform: reintegration, restoration, redemption, and reentry. While I did not know Sierra personally, I have spoken to Senator Gardner many times about this piece of legislation, and he noted just how involved and courageous Sierra's family, especially her mother Sheila, have been throughout this process. The legislative process, rightfully so, is not designed to be expedient, which makes the work of Sierra's family after this tragedy even more impressive. I'd like to thank Senator Gardner for his leadership on this issue, as well as Senator Bacon and his Senate Judiciary Committee, as well as Representative Manning and his House Criminal Justice Committee for their work and careful consideration of this bill. Sierra Joggins' life made the lives of others better. Today, with your vote, Sierra's Law can help make Ohio safer. I encourage you not just to vote yes on this bill, but I ask you join me as a co-sponsor of this impactful legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.